pianoryland@gmail.com. Today is not so much a musical video as it is instructional in response to a couple of questions from YouTube subscriber Mike Wadsworth. He was asking about a particular song in a particular key, and the key was F major. And so Mike was wondering, how do we determine the key of a song, and then what the scale is, and the timing? So I'm going to try and take just a few minutes and back up and do some review. I don't think I've done anything like this before, so let's give it a try and see where we go. The particular song he was asking about was in F major. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 keys to a scale, and those are chromatic notes. Okay, so now there are fewer notes actually in a major scale, and if F major is our scale, we've done this before, it starts on F. So you can call them 8 notes if you like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And a major scale will always have that sound to it in those intervals. The pattern of the intervals is pretty much the same. So that's F major. So our scale would look like this, and I'm just going to put this little diagram right here on the keyboard for you, Mike, and for others who would like to just take a look at it. It may not be big enough on the screen, but really what it is, it just shows the scale starting on F, then goes to G, then to A, then to B flat, then to C, then to D, then to E, then to F. And so this is a treble clef up top, and that clef sign looks different than the clef sign for the bass clef. And so what that really means is, if you look in a hymnal, you will see these shapes, these clefs. And so the treble clef on top is for the right hand, what the pianist plays or the voices sing in the right hand. Then the bass clef is below it, and you can see that also in most hymnals, and that considers what needs to be done in the left hand. Okay, so you have low voices in the left hand and high voices in the right hand. That's kind of how that breaks down. So that is what a scale looks like going up, ascending, all right? And so the F major scale only has what we call one accidental, and that is the B flat. So B is actually a note, and it occurs in a white note on the keyboard, but then that accidental is actually a half step lower, called a B flat, because it's flatter or more compressed or decreased from the normal B natural. And that is where that flat sign, that's a flat sign, that's where it occurs. And the very line that it is on is a B line. So each line and each space in the scale has a particular note name assigned to it. So let me put up this other diagram for you to consider. So this shows which notes are to be played or pressed in the F major scale. So you have 1, 2, 3, which is F, G, and A. 1, 2, 3, F, G, and A. And then we move up to the B flat, which is the black note. The only black note in the F major scale is B flat, and you'll see that as note number 4. And then we skip over the B natural and we go to C, which is note number 5. Then D, which is note number 6. And then E, which is note number 7. And finishes up with F, note number 8. Okay, so that's a crash course for you. So really what that means is each one of these notes on the piano that you're playing have a scale assigned to them. The major scales will always follow a pattern, and we can get into more in depth with that later on if you like. So once you memorize a pattern, no matter which note you start on the piano, you will be able to use that pattern in a new or different key. Now each key, or what we call a scale or a key, will have different key signatures. This is called a key signature. F major has this one, and that is one accidental, which is B flat. Okay, so now just up from the key of F, or the note F on the piano, its neighbor note is G. Okay, so this F has one flat in the key signature right there, and then just up from it, the G, if you started and you spelled a G chord, it has one sharp, and it's an F sharp. So they're very similar in that one has one flat and one has one sharp. Okay? Here those intervals are very similar, even though they're different starting notes and they're different key signatures and different scales. That sound, those intervals for a major scale sounds very much the same. All right, let me bring this up a little closer to the screen, and perhaps it might be more easily legible if I do that. See how F is 1, G is 2, A is 3, B flat is 4, C is 5, D is 6, E is 7, and ending back up to complete the scale at the high F is number 8. Okay, so that will help you on the F major scale, which pertains to the song you asked me about, which I believe was, where's the title? I'm looking through your email. I Can't Make It, Lord. That was the song that you asked me about, and it is in the key of F major. Okay, so that's a scale. That's kind of what that talks about. That's the notes in the scale. That's the pattern for the scale. You also asked me about how to figure out the key. You are 99% on the right track when you say whatever a normal hymn or song, whatever note it starts on and whatever note it finishes on, most likely 99% of the time, if it's a major key in a normal song, hymn or otherwise, those two, the start and the finish notes, if they are both the same, the chances of it being in that particular key of whatever note you press is very, very good. That's probably the best indicator. If you don't have the music in front of you, just as I don't have the music in front of me for that particular song you asked me about, I have to listen to it and then play a couple of notes and figure out where they started and where they ended up, and then figure out the chords in between. And that's what helps us to determine what key the song is in. You also asked me another question. Let me slip right over here and get a hymnal with regard to timing. A time signature. So we have a key signature, which for most songs tells us what notes to play. Then we also have what we call measures in a song, and the measures determine how many beats are included, and there is a time signature. So let's just take a popular public domain song like this right here, like Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Okay, as we're looking there, we see that right over here at the very start under my thumb. You see that treble clef? Remember we just saw that on that other paper? And lo and behold, there is one sharp. All right, so this is in the key of G. That's what this tells us automatically before we even have to start or listen or look any farther. So that is the treble clef, which is right hand. One sharp is the accidental in the key signature of G major. I have that memorized, and so you may want to do the same thing with the other ones. That's helpful as you progress. And then this is a time signature. We see the 3 over the 4. And very quickly before the video ends, let me just tell you that the top number, the 3, will always tell you how many beats are in a measure. Okay, so let's look right here. This is a measure where you see the white note and then the 2 black notes. And you see those lines, okay? All of these are measures as we go across, and they'll have 2 lines. And everything inside those 2 lines is called a measure. And those notes, whatever are in those inside those individual lines, must equal 3 beats. Okay? So 3 beats to each measure as we go across the page. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, etc. The 4 beneath the 3 tells us that a quarter note gets 1 count. A quarter note. This is a quarter note on the word how. That's a quarter note. And so it has assigned 1 beat. All right, just after how comes a half note, which is 2 beats on the word sweet. How sweet eat the sound that saved a wretch like me. So you can just count it right off. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, amazing grace, how sweet the sound. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's what that means. Okay. So 3 on top of a 4 is 3 beats to a measure, and then the bottom number 4 tells you that a quarter note gets 1 beat. I hope that was some help to you in a very quick explanation. I look forward to other emails and questions that you may have. Another great online resource, just go online and look up, do a quick search for key signatures and major scales. Key signatures, major scales, and then browse through and take a look at all the different key signatures and diagrams and major scales. Thanks as always for listening and subscribing. PianoRyland@gmail.com.